In this video, we're going to discuss one step that is often missed when you're getting your recruiting agency off the ground. Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Natasha, the business recruiter. Welcome back to my channel. So I know that there are a lot of steps that actually go into you being able to start a recruiting agency. From the administrative side of things, which means getting your LLC, getting all of the tools and paperwork that you need filed, getting the appropriate insurance, and then all of the contracts that are going to be associated with this business. And then there's the other side of once you have all of those things done, your business is actually set up. Now it's going through all of those steps in order to get a client. Once you have a client, then going through all of the steps in order to find viable candidates, and then ultimately getting those candidates through the interview process so that you're able to close the requisition and then get a check. That's a lot of steps, and there's a lot of things that you have to consider when you're starting a recruiting agency. But one of the steps that is often missed when you're starting to get your recruiting agency off of the ground is actually doing a check with yourself in regards to your mental health. And I know there are a ton of videos out there on YouTube already in regards to mental health and things that you can do to ensure that you're actually keeping track of where your mental health stands. However, I am here to tell you that there is a lot that goes into starting a recruiting agency, which means that there are so many moments throughout this process where your mental health will be tested. And that's not to scare you in regards to you getting your recruiting agency started. Ultimately, it's to remind you of how important it is for you to be in the right mental state in regards to starting anything. Now, when it comes to your mental health, it's important to keep in mind that throughout this journey, it can definitely ebb and flow, meaning that there's going to be ups and there's also going to be downs. And I think that it's important that you recognize that before you even start any steps of getting your recruiting agency off of the ground. There's going to be moments where you question yourself, where you're going to wonder if you actually make the right decision. And ultimately, there's going to be moments where you truly think that you're failing when you're probably not. One of the important things that I had to work through as I got my own recruiting agency off of the ground was imposter syndrome. And if you're not familiar with what that term is, then let me provide a little bit of context in regards to what imposter syndrome is. So imposter syndrome is this nagging feeling of self-doubt, meaning that you've put yourself in a position where you feel that although you're succeeding and doing well, and maybe externally those things are being presented, internally you may feel as though you're a fraud or a phony, or maybe you don't have enough experience, or all of these different things that can ultimately trigger levels of imposter syndrome. It's important to understand that there is a certain scale that's associated with it, and some typical symptoms of having imposter syndrome is going to be anxiety, higher levels of stress, or even seeing some physical side effects because of your imposter syndrome. This usually stems from some form of response in regards to you feeling like you're not enough. And I know with so many steps that are required in regards to getting this business off of the ground, there can definitely be a lot of moments where you question yourself and feel like you're not doing enough, although you are, or feel like you're not doing enough in comparison to others. It's important to understand that this journey is yours and it's yours alone. There is nothing that is telling you that you have to run this race and get to the very end of the line within a certain period of time. Everyone gets their business off of the ground within a time frame that works best for them. Even in regards to myself, I went through so many levels of imposter syndrome as I was getting my recruiting agency off of the ground. And a lot of it really did have to stem from the self-doubt that I had within myself because it was something that I had never done before. One of the primary ways that I actually went about combating that imposter syndrome is to stop the comparison of what others were doing and how I ultimately was doing. When you start to compare yourself or put yourself up next to someone else, it really does put you in a position where you might start to feel like you're not enough. And what I'm here to tell you is that someone's step 10 cannot be compared to your step 1. Someone's step 100 cannot be compared to your step 50. Again, everyone is here to be able to go about their recruiting agency journey at a pace that works best for them. And ultimately, it's going to be important that you continue to keep your mental health top of mind as you go through this process. Believe me, you cannot operate from a state of imposter syndrome where you always feel like you're in some situation where you are doubting yourself. You have to be able to put your best foot forward in terms of being able to show up for your business. And if you're not able to show up for your business in the most positive way, then how can you say that you're actually putting your business in a spot where it can be successful? I am here to tell you that I am notorious for operating from a state of anxiety and stress, and ultimately those things weighing on me and causing so many different elements of burnout. I don't want you to burn out throughout this process. I want you to pace yourself. I want you to give yourself grace. And I want you to understand that there is no specific target that you are after in terms of being able to get this off the ground. Whether it takes you 30 days or it takes you 5 years, ultimately, it's the fact that you took the step to get started and that you did it at a pace that was comfortable for you. This is why it's so important that you have goals in mind before you even start. Meaning that you have a plan in regards to exactly what it is that you can do, what it is that you're going to offer, and then exactly how you're going to go about getting there. Keep in mind that there is no right or wrong way to do things. Everyone who started a business had to go through some form of trials and tribulations, and you will definitely go through it. Starting a business is no easy feat. So even if you're in a position where you're thinking about it and you're continuing to contemplate, is it the right time? Understand that there is no perfect time in regards to being able to do this. It's about you and making sure that you calibrate with yourself to understand that it is something that you can do and that you have to be able to do it at your own pace in the absence of what others are actually doing. It's also part of the reason why I was so adamant in being able to create a program where I can teach others in regards to starting a recruiting agency. Because again, being able to get a group of individuals together to understand that their journey is going to be different as they go through it. They're going to experience different levels of success at different points within their business, and that's perfectly fine. I wanted to make sure that I created a community where individuals understood that you can definitely start a recruiting agency, no matter your experience or where you are at in life. But ultimately, you have to be committed, you have to be dedicated, and one of the main things that I always say is to give yourself grace because this process is definitely not easy. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, then be sure to give me a thumbs up, as well as I also want you to make sure that you are putting your mental health top of mind as you go through the remainder of 2023. So if you plan to make sure that your mental health is going to be in the state that it needs to in order for you to get your recruiting agency off of the ground, then I encourage you to go down below in the comments and write mental health. And if you are not in my Facebook group, then I encourage you to join. I'll leave that link down below in the description box because we are still in there talking all things recruiting. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.